Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
We have breaking news to share with you.
politics,
President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
we've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrence.
And I'm Dr. Gina.
Breaking news from Real America's Voice.
We begin with breaking news as former Vice President Dick Cheney has passed away. He served as second in charge to President George W. Bush and is widely considered to have been the most powerful vice president in the modern era. Cheney is also credited with being one of the main architects of the war on terror following September 11th. He died overnight at 84 years old after serving as multiple levels of government, from Chief of Staff to President Ford to Secretary of Defense to Congress, all the way up to Vice President for George W. Bush. Cheney did it all. He suffered several heart attacks and had a heart transplant back in 2012. A statement from his family this morning says his beloved wife of 61 years, Lynn, his daughters Liz and Mary, and other family members were with him as he passed. The 84-year-old died due to complications of pneumonia and cardiac and vascular disease. Let's bring in Dr. Gina in West Palm Beach, David Brody in Washington, D.C. now to shift this, to break all of this down just a little bit more. Lady and gentleman, good morning.
Good morning.
This is big news this morning. Let's just be honest about it. It is big news, David.
Yeah, look, there'll be a time and a place to talk about Dick Cheney's legacy, good and bad. A lot of folks probably would start with the bad if you're MAGA today. Having said that, he's a historical figure, Gina. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Now, once again, back to good or bad, he's still a historical figure. And there's a lot of reasons for that, from the war on terror, which a lot of people obviously now say, what in the world were we doing? But at the time, it was much different. So I kind of see this as a two obit situation, right? There's the post-2009 obit where, he changed significantly from where he was pre-2009. And it's all because of President Trump, and President Trump torched the place, if you will, the Republican Party, and Dick Cheney changed because of it. But there's a lot more to unpack. Anyhow, look, bottom line is, we obviously want to say a prayer to his family, make sure that things are going as best they can in these tough times,
Yeah, it's very interesting. President Trump has really changed so much. I was having a discussion with a friend of mine about this just this morning, back in the day when he was vice president, he was a giant. He was the one who went, he was the pit bull for the president. He went on the Sunday shows and defended the indefensible, right? He was the one who took all the hits and the bruises for that presidency and really redefined what a vice president was. And he was absolutely a giant. You're right. If this were 10 or 20 years ago, it would be a whole different sort of a eulogy. And we will get to that in the days to come. MAGA's heart is very bruised by some of the actions, and we'll talk about that later. But this isn't the day for that. What is so interesting to me is how that role has changed. Now, if J.D. Vance walks in the room, this President Trump, has been so accessible to the average person. I remember going in the Capitol back in the day and being told that the president and the vice president were only in the Capitol 2 days a year, and how lucky I was that both the president and the vice president were in the Capitol that day, because they only did it twice a year for security reasons. And this is back when assassinations weren't on the table pretty much every day for political reasons. Today, we have a president who is so courageous that he and his vice president and his entire cabinet are out and about every single day meeting people. And it doesn't seem as though they're so untouchable as it used to seem back in the day of Bush and Cheney. And I think that's really just an interesting, almost sociological perspective that I hadn't really thought of until I started talking about it with a friend.
And we'll, of course, continue to cover this story for you throughout the day and over the next coming weeks. In the meantime, we want to also encourage you, to join the RAV Ambassadors Club.
Yes.
You can interact with our host. Here's a little preview, in fact, of what you can expect.
What if watching Real America's Voice was just the beginning?
Proud to introduce the RAV Ambassadors,
The new grassroots platform that turns viewers into leaders, connecting directly with hosts like Steve Bannon, Dr. Gina, and more.
built by patriots for patriots.
Inside the RAV Ambassadors Hub, you'll get exclusive updates, challenges, and behind-the-scenes missions straight from the people shaping the fight for faith and freedom. Every action you take, every share, post, and mission earns you points, badges, and ranks. Compete with patriots nationwide. Unlock rewards, exclusive gear, even chances to appear on air or attend live RAV events. But this isn't just about watching, it's about doing. Joining campaigns, volunteering locally, standing for truth.
This isn't just a fan platform, it's a movement, one voice at a time.
Scan the QR code or go to ravambassadors.com to join now.
Because America's voice is your voice.
David, I don't remember the two of us interviewing you here, but I'm sure it was a scintillating interview there. You guys don't get it. You didn't see the thing, David and I in the head in the middle of you here. Oh, you guys missed that. Okay. All right. Anyway, my Tuesday morning humor. Dr. Gina, would you give us our Bible verse, please?
Well, I will be happy to do that, but I first want to say on the new ambassador community, first of all, welcome to all of you. Many of you have been unofficial ambassadors for a long, long time, but we are so happy to have you in this official capacity. And we invite you, if you're new to watching our show, telling you what, guys, just this weekend, I've got all these speaking engagements because I'm on a book tour right now for our children's book that I did with Jim Mosley, Days of Creation. And while I'm out and about, I'm telling you, all the people that tell me, I came to this event because I watch the morning show, I watch RAV, I keep it on all day and night. I'm hearing that more and more often, and it is just such a great chance for us to enjoy that community on a different level. So I'm so thankful that RAV is doing this, and we'll be telling you all more about this in the days to come. I was going to go to our Bible verse. I just simply don't have it in my prompter.
It's Psalm 29, Dr. Gina. I'll take it for you if you don't mind. Psalm 29. You have it? Okay, there you go. You got it there.
Psalm 29:11. The Lord will give strength to his people. The Lord will bless his people with peace. And we also, of course, want to send our prayers to, of course, the Cheney family, his friends, after the passing of the former Vice President. Short and sweet, but very impactful, as most of the Bible verses that are short and sweet are. Some of the shortest ones, in fact, the most impactful, right? All right, well, New York City voters, as you all know, are headed to the polls today to select the city's next mayor. More than 735,000 people voted early, which ended Sunday. Polls were closed yesterday, but people are back at the polls. Democrat socialist Zohran Mamdani has been leading the race for a while now, and President Trump had this to say about it.
If Mamdani becomes mayor,
it's going to be hard for me as the president to give a lot of money to New York because if you have a communist running New York, all you're doing is wasting the money you're sending there. So I don't know that he's won, and I'm not a fan of Cuomo one way or the other, but if it's going to be between a bad Democrat and a communist, I'm going to pick the bad Democrat all the time, to be honest with you.
For more, let's bring in RAV Chief White House correspondent Brian Glenn. Brian is actually in New York, as I understand it, this morning. So, Brian, what's the atmosphere like there in the Big Apple, the soon-to-be Big Rotten Apple? How is the voting looking there? Give us the rundown.
Good morning, everybody. I am on the streets of New York. You've got people, you've got traffic, you've got construction. I feel like a New Yorker, plus you'll have David Zier coming up a little bit later in the hour. But as I went out for dinner last night, kind of doing a man on the street poll, asking people who they thought would win today, 100% I got Mamdani on that. And of course, even getting that late endorsement yesterday for Cuomo from President Trump. And Cuomo is saying, that Mamdani is not qualified to challenge Trump and thought that he was a better person that would be able to push back on Trump's policies. I thought it was very interesting that Trump actually endorsed Cuomo, but we'll find out if that is even anything that can move the needle in this election, but a lot is on the line. Of course, some say this would be good for a future governor race, so that if Mamdani was to win the mayor here, that actually would, I guess, increase the odds of a Republican governor coming up, whoever that might be. But today is a big day. Already 5 times as many people have voted early voting for this election than the previous mayoral race.
Brian, I'm
And
curious.
I'm
to get your
sorry,
take.
Brian, I'm totally interrupting.
Yes, go ahead.
And you think that plays to Mamdani's favor?
I think it does. I think it's David Zier, who is a New Yorker who knows far more about this race than I do. He says he thinks it's going to be just a landslide, Mamdani a landslide, basically, and that the Cuomo endorsement or the Trump endorsement of Cuomo will not move the needle at all. And I think it's very interesting that Cuomo says, I don't want your endorsement. So, and maybe Trump is right. You know, a bad Democrat is better than a socialist and a communist. But the people of New York and these young people that have come out, 5 times as many people early voting than the previous race, shows you a lot. That this messaging of just giving stuff away for free, rent freezes, free transit on for train and all of the ways to get around New York, that's something that's very enticing to this younger generation.
Yeah, city-run grocery stores, free childcare for anybody under 5 years old.
Yep.
Yeah, it just goes on and on. Brian, let's go to this Just the News headline, switching topics to the government shutdown. It says the Trump administration is announcing partial funding for these SNAP benefits following the court order. So basically, they're going to fund half of the SNAP benefits through the end of the month. We understand there are going to be obviously some states that pick up the rest of it. So it looks like SNAP benefits will continue for a little bit. That's going to basically, once that money runs out, then it's done until the shutdown ends. My understanding this morning, we're hearing from Senator John Thune, the majority leader, that this shutdown actually could end. And it wouldn't surprise me if it ends in a couple days here after the elections. We understand there's some there's some Democrats now talking with Republicans about what this is going to take. It sounds to me like what's basically going to happen here, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but basically, the Democrats are going to be promised some sort of vote that they'll get once they agree to vote to reopen the government. And then at that point, there'll be some sort of vote. But that's about it. Bottom line is Democrats are going to cave here because Republicans are not going to do anything until the government reopens.
I agree. That's what I'm hearing as well. When you think about the amount of people this affects, you got 42 million Americans with SNAP, or better known as maybe food stamps, or 14% of a population is on that type of government assistance. That's a lot of people. And of course, we all been talking about the waste, fraud, and abuse that's in that system, but there are some very, disabled people, elderly people, a lot of poor, a lot of kids that need this money. And if they open the amount that's in there now is only going to fund about half of it. So it does need to open. I do think after this election, I think we'll have a vote perhaps as early as maybe Wednesday or Thursday to open up the government. And once this gets open, we can get these people fully funded for these SNAP benefits, which is vitally important for a lot of Americans. And so I think at the end of the day, the Republicans come out, the party that was able to basically initiate the funding to get the needs and the food stamps for the people who are truly in need. So I think it's a victory for Republicans, but it does bring up our larger conversation to not only with the health care, we need to start getting some of that, get an off-ramp on the Obamacare, and that maybe starts the dialogue with that. But it's been a long shutdown. I think many Americans need it back open.
By the way, go get a slice of pizza and the best pizza in America.
God. Here this
in New York.
guy goes.
I did. That's right. That's right. I did
This guy
it.
goes.
That's right.
Where's the best pizza around here? Where is it?
St. Louis.
Everywhere.
If you
I'm
can
talking
do
everywhere.
that,
St. Louis.
Anywhere but New York.
Lombardi. Let's get David Zier. Hang on, real quickly. The pizza. You got David Zier coming up a little bit later in the hour. But where's the best pizza around here?
Lombardi's right down here. John's of Bleecker Street, coal-fired pizza. Best stuff in town.
I knew you guys would
Yes.
Keywords
I knew we would know.
in town. All right, Brian, Glenn, David Zier,
Yes.
we're going to see both of you a little bit in our next hour. Thanks for being with us. Coming up, we're going to check out the hottest headlines from the RAV newsroom with T-Base. And later, President Trump shoots down a reporter's question regarding strikes against Venezuela. Why would he answer that question and give away the plan? Well, in moments, we're going to take a look at the mainstream media meltdown once again as American Sunrise continues right after this.